Fantasy Rap
with Austin and Ozzy.
Oh, I just love those boys.
Hey everyone, this is Fantasy Rap, and I'm your host Ozzy.
And I'm your co-host Austin.
You can find us on fantasyrap.com. That is fantasywrap.com. Hey everybody, welcome to week 16 of the fantasy season, and we are going to start off with Peas Picks. Hey everybody, welcome to Peas Picks. Hi Sutton, how are ya? You have your bunnies today? What about your squishmallow? Yeah?
Squishy.
You got your squishy with you? Well, I've got a couple of pieces of paper. One has the LA Rams, and one has the... I'm upside down a lot. One has the New Orleans Saints. So I'm going to set them here, and you tell us which one you'd like to talk about. You want us to talk about the Saints? Okay. Well, hang on. Don't leave yet.
You got to say goodbye.
Yeah, you have to say bye. And there you have it. You saw P. Sutton decided to choose the
Saints.
Drawn blank, New Orleans Saints. My daughter thinks that maybe we're doing, she's always going with the one on the right.
Yeah, I said that too when I just popped out for a second before that. We need to go back through the tape and see if she is only picking the right one.
Yeah, I haven't even paid attention, honestly. But maybe it is something like that. No. I don't know. We'll have to look. So, decent game last night. Yep. The Rams got out to a lead and seemed to allow the Saints to get back into it towards the end.
Sounds like a team I know.
Yeah. And of course, we're not going to talk about the Rams, but I'm going to talk about the Rams a little because in one of my leagues, I was a little nervous. I mean, it's the one that I've outscored everybody by 300 to 500 points, but you know, their rankings or projections had me as only like a 20-point winner.
Only.
Well,
but yeah,
but it's so flexible that you know that can change in a heartbeat.
Yep.
And I had Nakua and Williams.
Yeah.
And there are bonuses. There's a bonus structure that you get 2 points at like 100 yards. I think rushing or receiving.
Gotcha.
So both of them got that. But then in receiving, there's another bonus of 7 more points at like 150, and Nakua went over that. Yeah. So I ended up with 39 points out of him. I'm sitting at like 57 points or something out of 2 players.
So you should be good.
I should be good. That made me feel a lot better. I mean, I've still got CMC and you know I've got a good team.
Yeah.
But you worry about it. You know, if the wrong guy, and the other funny thing is in my 30+ year league, the other guy had Cooper Kupp. And Cooper Kupp was held to like 56 yards, 52 yards receiving, 5.2 points.
Yeah.
No PPR.
Yeah, no PPR is nice.
So all of a sudden it went from I'm like a 60 to 40 dog, and it's now 53-47.
Nice.
So it's coming back to, and you know, using the site that I use, it says that I should win by like 8 or 10 points. That made, you know, that game was just the ultimate turnout, other than the ultimate outcome, other than I've got Kamara in the dynasty that you and I are in.
I have him in my other dynasty league too.
And then the other person has Carr. So, you know, now I'm picked to lose, but, you know, I mean, Carr had a great game. So getting into his stats, he was 27 of 40 for 319 yards and 3 TDs with 1 interception, 2 rushes for 2 yards. I mean, you'd take that out of your quarterback pretty much any time.
Yeah, outside of what really hurts you outside of Kamara and Cooper Kupp, I mean, you know, most of your pieces that you'd had in this matchup did very well for you, you know, so that's obviously nice.
Right.
You know, especially in the playoffs. So, but yeah, I mean, he finally I mean, finally, I think he's had like maybe 2 like really good games,
Right.
but you know,
He's spent a lot of the time injured. So
Yep, injured and getting booed off the field every time. You know, they'd go.
yeah,
3
luckily
and
they were in
out, or-
LA.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. So yeah,
because
he
I
had a
think
good game.
they were happy with him
Yeah.
not winning
Yeah.
there. And I think the fans were also happy about Yamamoto,
I didn't catch that.
the baseball player who signed
Oh,
a
yeah, I
12-year,
did. I got that.
$325 million to
Yeah.
go with. You know, it's just great that, you know, we come from the smallest, you know, if
Mm-hmm.
we're Brewer fans, the smallest baseball market. Green Bay is the smallest, I believe, the smallest major sports market in the U.S. of all sports.
Mm-hmm.
And yet they put together a quality team year in and year out, which goes to show what a salary cap does. I'm losing interest in baseball. I'm not a huge fan of basketball to start with, but mainly because it's changed so much.
Yeah.
Moving on, we have Kamara. Kamara had 5 catches on 6 targets for 16 yards. I think 3 of them were on the last drive or 2, which, like I was saying just a minute ago before we came on the air, that helps because that's PPR. At least he's getting a couple of points.
Yeah, I think he had in our dynasty league it was like 9.5 points is what he
Yeah,
ended up with
yeah.
or something. So it did, I mean, it wasn't good, but he didn't absolutely kill you. So
Right.
yeah,
And then he had only 9 rushes for 19 yards. He wasn't moving the ball. Nor was the other running back that they'd work in, Rivers. No, Rivers is on the other team.
Jamal Williams.
Jamal.
Yeah.
I thought they had one other guy.
They might have one more because I think Kendre Miller was out again. He's
Yeah.
been injured most of the season, which sucks for him because he was one of my targets as a rookie for
Yeah,
either next year or year after, whenever Kamara's done or
Right.
has moved to a different team potentially.
right.
But,
that was Rivers upsetting me when
Yeah.
Williams would come out. I'm just like,
yeah.
I want Williams in there.
Yep.
Moving on, we've got Olave. He was hot to start, 3 targets right away. He ended up with 9 of 13 for 123 yards. Rashid Shaheed was 5 catches on 9 targets for 70 yards and a touchdown. He also rushed it once for 4. And Juwan Johnson, 4 of 7 for 48 yards and a touchdown. I mean, and they had another guy with like a catch and a touchdown, and not a lot. Shaheed would, the touchdown that he scored was a beautiful play. They pulled Carr looked off the safety, kept him on the right side of the field, and Shaheed just blew by the guy and easy TD.
Yeah, that's what you're hoping for every week with Shaheed is that he just slips out or he just burns past a guy. So
Right.
Olave was nice. I have him in our dynasty league
Yeah.
that we're together. So I got like 23 something points.
Yeah, but you should be
on him,
trying to
so-
lose again.
Yeah, I know.
You're either getting the 3rd or the 4th draft
Yeah.
pick, so
Not too bad, but
No.
that too is. I mean, the Saints ultimately lost, but they started to come back towards the end there. Over the second half, but Carr has a good game, and it seems to coincide whenever Olave has a good game too.
right. And he was out last week,
Yeah. But just the frustrations that they were having early in the season between Carr and Olave with bad games from both of them, and they just weren't on the same page, and so definitely helped in the fantasy rounds, playoff rounds here. If you have Olave,
Right,
you've been
right.
having to just suffer through the roller coaster.
Yeah,
So,
yeah. And so many of these. I mean, the guy I'm playing in my 30-plus year league, he's got, I believe he has Achan, who, if Mostert is healthy, he'll take most of the carries.
Yep.
He's got a couple of other guys who are potent. He's got Geno Smith. He's got, some guys that are questionable, which it really makes it tough and last week I played against the guy who had 3 guys out,
Yeah.
including Olave and his quarterback, and I've never remembered it being this bad.
Well, there's so many injuries to big quarterbacks this year.
Oh, yeah.
Obviously Burrow injured pretty much all season, and then the wrist, and you've had other quarterbacks miss time, and
Yeah.
Daniel Jones with
out.
the concussion, and then like the next week or week after is when he had the ACL.
Yeah.
You've had
Rodgers.
yeah.
Who am I thinking? C.J. Stroud.
Yep,
Just a week ago or
which
week and a half ago.
which looks like he's
Out
probably,
this week.
Yeah,
No,
is
he
out.
already is
got
listed
ruled
as out.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I've got him on our dynasty,
Yep.
which I wasn't planning on playing him anyway. But yeah, just a plethora of injuries up and down, and from I think they're paying closer attention to the concussions.
Yep.
So you've seen a lot more concussions because they've got people up watching players and pulling them off and making sure that they're okay to go back in. So it's tough from a fantasy perspective, and then you get guys like Arthur Smith who
Doesn't use a generational talent.
right anti I don't care if you're
anti-fantasy.
anti-fantasy.
Yeah.
You're also anti-job because at the end of the year you won't be employed there.
Yeah.
So whatever you want to do. Moving on to our picks of the week. On the quarterback side, they've got listed Allen, Hurts, Fields, Mahomes, Goff, and Lamar Jackson. And I'm going to do something I don't normally do, and I'm going to go with my own guy. I'm going to go with Brock Purdy. Brock Purdy has been, so many people and outlet, sites are saying that he's the MVP. This will be the test.
Yeah, I think he's like number one in most of the major statistical categories right now, but it's tough when you have CMC on your team doing what he's been doing this season. So,
I think Purdy said that he would vote for CMC.
Yeah.
CMC is just it's like someone said. I was reading an article or watching a podcast or something, listening to a podcast, and someone was talking about how if you didn't take CMC with that number 1 or number 2 pick and he was available, how sad you must be. And I think in that one league that I'm 300 points plus ahead of everyone, I got him at 4, I want to say.
Wow.
Yeah. They went wide receivers, and wide receivers are valuable, especially in that
PPR.
that setting. But CMC, if he stays healthy, is, in my opinion, the best fantasy player in football.
I totally agree.
Now you've got guys like Kelsey who are usually. This is that year that Kelsey's really good. Kelsey's not number 1.
No.
Kelsey's not number 2.
No.
Laporta is number 1, and I believe Kittle is number 2 right now.
Okay.
And so, had you wasted or spent that first round pick expecting that he was going to be that difference maker above everybody else, it didn't happen.
Yeah.
Whereas CMC, it happened.
Yep.
So, like I said, I went Purdy. Probably one of the
matchup.
worst draws he's got, which is against Baltimore. But it's at home.
Yeah.
They play well there. They've been on an absolute tear. And if he wants to win the MVP, he's going to play very well this week.
Yeah, I agree, and it does kind of depend to what Baltimore team shows up. You can get you can get the Baltimore offense that just struggles to put up, 12 points.
Well, and remember, Keaton Mitchell is out.
Yeah, he's out. So you got
you lost that
Justice Hill. So
you lost that
Fran's
spark.
Going to be keen on Lamar completely.
Now, over the last I forget if it was 5 or 6 weeks or something. They've given up the largest number of 10+ yard runs
Okay.
in the league. San Fran has.
Oh, San Fran has. Okay.
So we may see
Lamar
doing well, but I don't see the other backs being, the backs being necessary. Had it been Keaton Mitchell,
Yeah.
maybe,
Mm-hmm.
but I don't see it out of their running backs.
Yep.
I
Yeah.
see it maybe out of Jackson.
Yeah. So hopefully Baltimore can keep it interesting enough that there's just not a ton of handoffs. Well, it'd help you obviously because you got CMC. On
Yeah, but I would
teams.
rather he throw the pass
Yeah.
to him.
Yeah.
Get both of us, get. I mean, at least on the one I've got the quarterback, and on the other, all three I've got CMC. So at least
Yeah. So
that's why I always sit there and I go, it's great when they throw the little pass to him, or like last week where there were 2 touchdown passes to him, because I get the QB passing touchdowns
that stack.
and the receiving touchdowns.
Yeah, that's speaking of stacks. So the John and my main buddy in the redraft league, his team is Brock Purdy, and then he's got Ayuk and Debo Samuel.
Wow, I don't like that.
It's worked out for him because he's I think he's in a matchup to go to the finals next week. So
I mean, it can work.
Yeah, I mean he's had a couple down weeks here and there, but you want to know who his other quarterback is for fantasy? It's Jalen Hurts.
Ah.
But he's been playing Brock Purdy because Hurts hasn't been doing as great.
Right.
So
and I've had Browning, and Browning has performed right up there with him, but there's no way I'm even this week I'm not sitting him over Purdy.
Yeah.
Purdy's gonna rise to the occasion.
Yep. So I'm gonna go with the old guy Joe Flacco versus Houston.
And he's still alive.
Still alive. Still alive, yeah. There was a funny video that came out. They're interviewing. There was in the locker room. I don't know if it was after practice or a game or something, but he was getting a quick little interview, and apparently he didn't even know how much he was getting paid to be on like the practice squad for a little bit. And then even his 1-year deal, apparently he was like, I'm not even sure how much it's for, but he just loves playing football.
Yeah.
So
it's kind of
and the stage of his career, all those years in Baltimore, win a Super Bowl, and I don't think he was the MVP.
Don't
I
recall.
want to say that was
Ray Lewis.
maybe no, it was that one wide receiver they had their punt returner, kick but receiver too. Jacoby was the guy's name.
Jacoby Dean.
No, can't remember what it is. But I mean, he's made enough money in his career.
Jacoby Myers.
No, it's like Jacoby Jones or something.
Yeah, Jacoby Jones.
Yeah, really fast. Yeah, but anyways, yeah. So matchup against Houston. Yeah, like we just said, a couple of minutes ago, C.J. Stroud is out for Houston, so that'll put a lot more stress on that Houston defense, probably having to be out on the field a little more, especially if Cleveland's defense can regroup and play at that elite level we know they can. So hopefully he can score his points before it gets too out of hand. Amari Cooper, Jerome Ford. I don't want the douche.
Personally, I want about 5 field goals.
Oh, I still got Hopkins.
Oh yeah.
I dropped Sanders and picked up somebody Moody actually.
Oh, okay.
For the Niners, figure maybe Baltimore might be able to stall them out in
I hope not.
35, 40 yard range.
Nope. Touchdown. All 5 of them passes from Purdy
to CMC.
To CMC.
All right, good luck.
That would make my day.
Yeah.
Next up, we've got running backs, and guess who's back at the top?
Isaiah Pacheco.
Do you see who's not on the list? Isaiah Pacheco. CMC is 1. Kyron was 2 and put up nice numbers. James Cook, 3. Rashad White, who made the Packers look really bad last week, 4. Breece Hall and Bijan. I'm going back from the injured list, or not injured list, but back from being injured. I'm going Taylor.
Nice.
JT.
Yeah.
At Atlanta, not the most powerful team out there.
Yeah. And they seem to, those two teams usually seem to have decent matchups. You know,
Yeah.
It's maybe not a offensive explosion,
Right.
but you know, it's one of those where it's, you know, low scoring, like high teens maybe, but
Right.
there's a lot of yardage there. So,
Right. And
you know,
it's still questionable as to whether or not Zach Moss plays.
true.
So if Moss doesn't play, it's a big, big.
And Taylor's was the thumb, so it's not like it was a hammy or a quad
Right.
or an ankle. So
Right.
he should
No
be
soft
fully,
tissue.
fully rested, healthy, ready to go. So
Right.
yeah, I like. Plus, I've got Dynasty. Granted, I should lose, but got him in Dynasty. So
It is what it is.
Yeah.
I mean, what's the difference between a third or a fourth?
Yeah.
I mean, it's not like it's. I mean, and in so many cases, I mean, like we said last year, I get C.J. Stroud at 6.
Yeah.
C.J. Stroud should not have been at 6.
Honestly, should have been number 1.
Well,
and Bijan
yes.
2, but
Well, Bijan is a generational, potentially a generational talent, and you look at that and you say 2 could have been Bryce Young, and he was.
Yeah.
But then we had some other stuff go before that, including a receiver that I would have taken had he still been there, and you took.
Yeah.
But getting C.J. Stroud at that position, so I mean, it just depends. You've got what is it, Brock Bowers?
Oh, a tight end out of Georgia.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. He's
They
gonna be
say
really
that
good. Yeah.
he is amazing.
Yep.
So you've got guys coming out next year for that draft.
Well, I'm good at tight end now.
Yeah, you and me both. I've got about 8 of them.
Well, I don't know if it was in our league or if it was in the other one, but I picked up Tanner Hudson. So
Yeah, it's in ours.
it is. So I'm good.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah,
good.
you're good.
I'm good.
I know. I saw that. I was like,
I was just scrolling through it. I'm like,
Tanner Hudson's
he's out there. I mean,
Oh, he is the favorite
yeah,
target.
yeah. Well, that and if they don't bring anybody in and they ship, what they should do is ship Irv Smith Jr.
Yeah.
right back out.
I
into
think
the
he
unemployment line.
had a 1-year deal, maybe.
Yeah. So maybe next year he's their number 1 tight end.
Of course, I've got Irv Smith.
Of course.
And I'm considering bringing Ty Chandler off of my taxi squad this
Yeah.
week because it depends on if Madison is playing or not.
I think last week though, with what Chandler put up, I think he deserves
Well,
at least.
Coach already said that he's leaning toward giving him much more of the work, regardless
He
of
looks
Madison
so
coming
much
back.
better than Alexander.
But
Madison.
but then I'm probably dropping Irv Smith.
Oh yeah, I would.
I mean,
think-
I've got Pitts, I've got Dulcich, I've got Logan
Thomas.
Thomas,
Yeah.
I've got Kraft. I think I have another one too.
Yeah.
So it's not like I need all these tight ends. So
Yeah, I think Irv will find a job somewhere on some team next year, but within the next 3 seasons, I bet you he's out of the league. He
Yeah.
just sucks because he was one of those guys too that if he could have stayed healthy, could have been probably pretty good. So.
Yep.
So like you brought up before, Rashad White absolutely torching, like everybody from Tampa absolutely torching Green Bay. I'm going Chuba Hubbard versus Green Bay. He's getting the majority, like 90%.
Oh, and I
of
thought
the
that
work.
said Nick Chubb.
Yeah, he's back. Run out to your waiver wire real quick if you can. Yeah, no.
Joke, sarcasm. Sorry. Yeah, I think anyone running against Green Bay is.
And there was a quote from Joe Barry apparently saying that he's much more concerned with fixing the problems than he is with his employment status.
Okay.
Bullshit.
I don't know why he's still employed.
Yeah, it's
You should have been able to fix the. I mean, you've been at it for how many years now? Since 21, and you haven't done anything.
well, Devondre. There's another, ESPN Devondre Campbell is like, I'm not going to play if I'm hurt, so he's probably going to be out this week. Maybe, I don't know.
I don't
or at
think
least
he will.
said practice. I think he's not going to practice hurt.
Well,
or
they
something like that,
they
but-
let him out of practice
Yep.
on Tuesday or
Okay.
Wednesday. Obviously, because he's said, he's upset with stuff. And,
there's
but
other, DB.
no, I've heard that one is not
Okay.
related to him. That he is still injured.
Jair.
Yeah.
No, I don't know if it was him or it was. I think it's somebody currently playing. I don't know who, but there was a quote or something I saw that, whoever, they're just sick of running that stupid soft zone because he's a better press. Whoever it was is a better press.
Oh, it's
corner.
probably Stokes then.
Probably because he's like, you just get playing the zone is just
and I again, I was on Bleacher Report and we've got these crappy, why did we get rid of Rasul Douglas? If we employed the correct defense, these guys have shown.
Yeah, we've seen it.
Right. I mean, every once in a while, Joe Barry figures out what he's doing for 1 week out of 6 and runs man coverage mainly, and we beat people. And then he goes back to, gosh, I think we'll play zone. We're not going to actually rush at all. We're not going to blitz against Danny DeVito. We are not going to,
yeah.
He runs the prevent defense from the start of the game. So
all of that wraps into why I chose Chuba Hubbard. Like I said, he's getting like 90% of the work. Miles Sanders has been a huge, disappear. He got injured a little bit, but just absolute disappointment because I think he was still. there was when he went to Carolina, people, and I was big on him too. Was that he was going to be true workhorse, Chuba in there. It was going to be the other way where Sanders was getting 90 and Chuba was getting 10. And it kind of was like that at the beginning, but it just, he couldn't
which
do it.
kind of ticked me off because I've got him in our dynasty and it was like, and now you have to play him.
Yep.
Well,
yeah.
I get to play him.
Yeah. So, that, I just match up and I just have no faith that Joe Barry is going to be able to stop running backs ever.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I'm struggling because I've got Lockett and I've got Thielen.
Oh yeah.
And I'm probably going to go Thielen because our defense has been so poor. All of a sudden he's going to go man, and Thielen won't. Although Thielen generally gets open no matter what.
Yep.
Short passes, if they actually throw the ball, they might not need to. So, but we make also ran quarterbacks look like they should be MVP candidates. So I'm thinking Bryce Young is going off for about 375 yards, 6 touchdowns, and Chuba's going to do pretty much the same.
Yeah.
So it's just going to be one of those interesting weeks.
Yep.
But I like the pick. I mean, any running back against Green Bay generally looks good. Moving on to the wide receivers, we've got Tyreek, we've got CD, we've got DJ, we've got AJ, we've got JJ, and we've got Mike Evans. So CD Lamb, DJ Moore, AJ Brown, Justin Jefferson, and Mike Evans. I got onto the list and I'm just like, oh, this is kind of cool. It's kind of like back in the day when there was AJ Hawk, there was BJ Raji, there was CJ. I can't think of his name.
The only CJ that comes to mind is Mosley. But
yes, CJ Mosley.
Okay.
DJ, I can't remember who the DJ was, but there you could go. There was an EJ defender, I believe, EJ something. I'm like, could you imagine having AJ, BJ, CJ, DJ, and EJ on your team?
Well, we were close with my group
AJ
of buddies.
Oh.
We've got AJ, we've got BJ, my dad, Corey. They would have named me Corey Jr., would have been CJ. And then our buddy Wyatt, his dad's name is Dell.
Yeah.
So, real missed opportunity there.
Well, I'm DJ, so.
Yeah, okay.
So I am going to go. I'm actually going to
Stack
stack.
it again.
Yeah,
Wow.
yeah. And while some people are picking Ayuk to go off this week, I'm going to go Debo. Debo is, and I hope Debo doesn't go off as much as CMC does, for obvious reasons. No, I've already mentioned it.
Yeah.
So I'm just surprised that Debo is off that list, and maybe it's matchup. Maybe I just on the site that I use, he was ranked like 3, so I found it hard to pass up a quality player like that. He's what is it, 6 or 7 or 8 TDs in the last 3-4 weeks?
Yeah, he's been on well, like you said too, San Fran's been on an offensive heater. So I mean, yeah, he's been the main receiver. A little bit of Kittle sprinkled in there too recently, but
Ayuk hasn't really done a whole lot lately. So maybe they're thinking that Debo takes the majority of the coverage, and Ayuk can get better chances.
Well, Debo just gets used all over the field, in the backfield too. He's going to vulture some carries, which sucks. But I mean, dude's just good.
Yeah, he is
just good. So.
Yep.
I'm going to go with Amon-Ra St. Brown against Minnesota. Just gets it done.
Yeah.
And that's it. No.
He's been putting up some crazy numbers. I mean, obviously he's it's all based on what Goff does, but
it's hard. Goff has to really try hard to be bad, like he was in Chicago. He can do it. He can do it, but it's hard with that team. With you got Jahmyr Gibbs, who's been a monster these last 2-3 weeks.
2 touchdowns last week.
I mean, Montgomery's still good. He's their change of pace kind of guy. You got Laporta, who's the number 1 fantasy tight end.
3 touchdowns a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, he's been.
Or was that last week? That was last week.
I think it might have been last week.
Yeah.
So
because they had like 6 touchdowns.
Yep. You still got deep shot. Threat over the top with Jameson Williams if he can. If he's healthy. I mean, he's just there to just to keep the defense honest. Not that he's going to put up huge numbers. He might catch a huge touchdown, but
like I said, still a disappointment.
But then that leaves they've got all these pieces that are playing really well right now that makes it tough for defenses to cover. Even though Minnesota's defense has been playing pretty well too. They've been playing a lot better, but I think he's just too good. He can't. It's hard to not pick him.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I agree. I mean, he was. I was looking at a couple of people, and I'm like, that's a tough one.
Yep.
Moving on to our tight ends, we've got Kelsey, Laporta, Hawkinson, Kmet, Kittle, and Njoku, all who have had some very good games the last few weeks. Kelsey was off last week. I think Hawk was off also a little bit.
Yeah.
I am going to go with Mr. I believe he has the most targets of any tight end over the last 6 or 8 weeks, and that's McBride. Ever since
Kyler?
No.
Ertz. Yep.
Ever since Ertz got injured and then subsequently released, he has been, he's getting 7, 8, 9, 10 catches on 10 to 12 plus targets.
Yeah, he's their only receiving option really that's doing anything.
Right. So and who are you going to put on him? The DBs are too little. The linebackers and safeties are too slow.
Yeah.
So
it's just a matchup nightmare.
Yeah. Interesting. Going against Chicago. That could be a good tight end matchup. Kmet versus McBride.
Yeah, that'd be fun to see. Kmet, one of those like 42-yard, 2 touchdown kind of games, and then McBride for 9 receptions, 110 and a touchdown or something. Just crazy.
Yep.
So, obviously Njoku's in that list. I was going to keep rolling with him, but snuck in because he's had monster games too.
Oh, yeah.
So I will go Evan Ingram versus Tampa. It's a pretty good matchup, and same thing. He's more than capable of putting up huge numbers as well.
Well, and Kraft put up big numbers against them last week.
Yeah.
So
exploitable matchup, and Ingram, like I said, he's done it. Just it's about all there is to it. I mean, he's not like jump off the page, like holy shit, Evan Ingram, but.
Well, right. The only guy I see on there that's jump off the page is Laporta.
Oh yeah.
Laporta, like we talked before we came on the air, Laporta is number 1 in fantasy scoring in non-PPR. I don't know about PPR.
Yeah, I'd have to look. I'm sure. I would bet that he probably is.
I would guess
1.
so. And then I
He's been scoring
think
a
Kittle is
ridiculous
2
amount of touchdowns.
and Kelsey is 3, but Kelsey is 3.
Yeah.
So,
How long has it been since that's happened?
right. So it makes it tough to spend those high draft picks on Kelsey.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, and hopefully, I mean, he's still the number 3 tight end, but you look at like Dynasty, like Isaac, our friend, he came to me, I think it was even last season, talking in the middle of the season. He goes, "I've got a trade offer on the table for Kelsey, and it's pretty good. What do you think?" And
Was he
for
giving or getting?
Giving away.
okay.
He was trading, he would be giving away and then receiving, a handful of picks and maybe even a player. And I was like, that one's tough because, is this the last year? Is it not? It's, like you look at CMC, that's a guy you just ride until he's out of the league. I mean, in my opinion, there's a couple, there's
I think if I can get
3 guys that you just have to just stick.
I think when he's 29 years old, if I can get a draft package or put together a decent trade package and get rid of him, I think I will.
Yeah, but like I
So
said,
if you're interested,
it's like owner's choice, dealer's choice, basically.
Yeah.
Do you make the trade and then he stays white hot for 3 more seasons?
Is he going to stay white hot for 3 more seasons though?
Well, that's what I'm saying is you don't.
I mean, how old is Kelsey? 30.
Oh, he's up 32. Something sounds right.
Yeah, 32 or 33
Yeah.
because he's like the same age as whatever her name is that made him famous.
Oh yeah, that person.
Taylor.
Or something.
Taylor.
Yeah. So hopefully your daughter doesn't listen to the end of these podcasts.
I'm pretty sure she probably only listens and watches while her daughter is on. So
Yeah. So, but yeah, I mean, like I said, we talked about that in our in our couple episodes about trading and little segments talking about trading that you just don't want to make the wrong choice.
well,
And
no,
it's,
you never want
yeah.
to. I mean, obviously, one of the two of you are probably making the wrong choice.
Yeah. Well, isn't that what they say about was that deal? Doing
Marriage?
deals. Well, that too. Some of it. No, about doing deals. Working like compromising. How you got a good deal is that both sides feel like they got screwed.
Yeah, yeah, that sounds about right. That sounds about like marriage too.
Yeah.
Just kidding. No, but it is one of those things that it's like the Brewers right now with Adames and Corbin Burns, and both of them have 1 year left of control. My mind, much like when Rodgers, the whole Rodgers thing was going on. In my mind, you trade them while there's still value, because especially with Rodgers, because the monetary outlay was a ridiculous number.
Yeah.
And in my mind, he was not worth that anymore going forward. So getting something in return, and I think they got quite a bit back in return. So, anytime in my mind you can get something back, even though, the player may go and have a good year or two, you still got something, as opposed to you being the one who allowed them to be beat into the ground or they walk away from your team.
True.
That's, I've always got, and this is my first dynasty. I've been in keeper leagues where you could keep, and it didn't matter.
Yeah.
And both in baseball and in football, and at certain points in time, you say that guy is not better than the other guys that I've got. So if you can find a way to get something back, it still has to be good. I mean, luckily, the name CMC,
it's going to hold weight.
Right. I mean, the
Until
connotation
he
is,
retires. Yeah.
wow. I don't even, I thought that I got a good deal when I got him.
Yeah.
And I turn around, and if I could use him for, 3-4 years and get something similar back for him, that'd be amazing.
Yeah.
So that's the way I look at it.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I don't think we have much more. We don't do any of the other segments because this is week 16. We've got one more week.
Yeah.
Maybe we do a week 18. I don't know how you can do a week 18.
Yeah.
I know there are leagues out there that play week 18 and that's their championship.
Change that.
Yeah.
Don't leave the league unless you hate it, but change that, please.
Yeah, that's
you're going to get teams like the Niners, the Eagles,
right.
These teams that are
if the Niners win 2 more games, they may be letting their best players and if I went into a championship and I can't play Purdy or CMC
or Debo or
but
Kittle, but
I've got that.
Yes, yeah.
And imagine going into that and saying, I just lost my, probably my 2 best players
that got you there.
Right.
Yeah.
And I don't get them for the championship game?
Yeah.
What in the it's a little bit similar to the championship last year where I'm blocking out the name. Pittsburgh or Buffalo safety DeMar Hamlin when he got hurt.
Oh yeah.
And the game was called.
Yeah.
That was championship week.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's a lot of
right. Tell me that didn't impact tons of championships.
Oh yeah.
And that's what I mean. And I'm not saying they should have played the game or anything else. They did the right thing. What I'm saying is that the impact is similar to a week 18 game where you don't know if people are even going to play.
Yeah.
So
if you have week 18 for the championships, definitely put that up in your league. Say, hey, we got to change this.
Commissioner needs to change that, or I'd seriously consider walking away from the league.
Mm-hmm.
That's a no-no.
Mm-hmm.
It's like the league having a week 14 bye. Didn't they have week 14 buys last year? Or did the buys end in time? It seems to me that there were buys during the playoffs. But
wasn't there?
No.
Oh,
they ended in week 14.
Okay.
15, 16, and 17 are.
Yep.
So I said it wrong. It should have been like a 15 bye. I don't remember if there was, but that's another thing that you can't have. You almost have to change how you do your playoffs to either cut it down to 4 teams or something.
Yeah.
So. Well, that's all we've got for this week. Hope you enjoy the podcast, the vidcast. I'm Ozzy.
And I'm Austin.
Have a great week.
See you later.